Today we're going to be looking at Takashi Murakami's flowers. Takashi Murakami did these incredible, very symmetrical, extremely sort of mathematical flowers, and he repeats them and uses computers and all sorts of different methods to layer his work. So you've seen me do a circle and a larger circle, and I'm drawing the face on and trying to get the proportions the same as on one of his flowers. I've got one in front of me while I draw. I've got those little wonky eyes. And now you might want to pause as you watch me use my compass to do the top parts of the flower, the petals. I'm using the compass to do these semicircles around my line I drew around the outside. That's because I want them to be all the same size. I want them to look really even, and I'm making 3 fit in each section, each quarter of my page. That means there'll be 12 petals in total, which is what his do too. Then I'm doing the lines that go up to the center circle of the flower, and I'm using a ruler because I want to keep it as neat and mathematical looking as possible. I erase all the spare lines that I don't need now as I'm going round, just to neaten things up, and also because I'm using quite light watercolor paint for this today, and I don't want any lines showing through. So now I've got a permanent marker or Sharpie, which is doing those edges for me, and I want them to be really even. You can see me sometimes going over them just to make sure there's a really solid black line, like on his flowers too. And once I've finished that, I'll erase any pencil marks that are visible. I will check that each line is even, and I will go right into the painting. I am not going to paint next to each section of the flower, but I've got one of his rainbow flowers in front of me to work out which colours I need. Why aren't I painting next to the section I've just painted? Well, it's because I don't want the paint to run together. I want bright, solid bits of colour for each petal. And so by going in alternate petals, it means I can not let them run together and keep the colours bright and true. So you can see me working around. So I had to plan a little bit to do this because I had to work out which colours weren't going to be next to each other and think about the order in which I wanted to paint. So you can see me layering my watercolour, keeping my paint quite wet so that I get a really even, no brush strokes kind of look. So here is my finished painting, and what I did with mine was I took it into Photoshop, which is available as an app, and I used the black and white picture that I took before I painted, and then I made it as clean and bright as I could by adjusting the contrast and the brightness, and then I made several different versions of my flower so I could pull them onto one page. So here I am basically using my little painting as a stamp. So I've adjusted the colours and I've layered and layered and layered, and then I do one last big rainbow one over the top, and I've made my own digital art.